The Houston Rockets come in with another L to the Zion-led New Orleans Pelicans, losing 119 to 106 in a game that was a nail-biter till about the 6-minute mark when they forgot that Jalen Green existed on the court. Now, this game was pretty much the most bipolar game that I've ever watched, and I was, taking notes in the first half and just stopped taking notes because I was like, this game is over, and all of a sudden, bang, we're right in the middle of it, and then it went back to being over literally in the blink of an eye in about seemed like 10 Kevin Porter Jr. turnovers. So in this video, I'm just going to try to go through some of the things that I picked up from the game, some little notes. I was actually literally writing down notes, so you can look at my notepad, and I'm going to go over some of my notes, key takeaways, and see what we go from here. Okay, so y'all tap in. But first, so if y'all didn't know, the Chop Shop merch store is officially open. The link to the store is going to be in the description of this video. Go to the merch store and check out the catalog that we have developed for you guys. We got on there some great t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers. You can buy stuff for yourself, for your spouses, for your children. My favorite right now is the Tari t-shirt, and you can check that out at the store. Great t-shirt, little concept with the Dragon Ball Z fusion thing. I'm an old Dragon Ball Z head, so we love to get that on there. You can check out the JG4 Astro Boy t-shirt, and just check out all the great designs on there for all the other stuff that you like to see. This is just the beginning, so if you guys want to support the Chop Shop, go ahead and hit up the merch store. Drop you a couple dollars and pick you up something that you like. All right, so the game started out promising enough. The team actually came out, and one of the first things I wrote on my notepad is, I love the first play. So the Rockets were running a little split action, and split action is a post action that you can run when you have a dominant player in the post that's a threat, and you're able to have players on the perimeter that can shoot. And it seemed like they were intentional about doing this for the first couple of plays with Sengun, because I wrote that they went to him 3 straight plays in a row to start the game. And little did I know this was almost like trying to fill a quota. Like, okay, we're done with that. Let's get back to what we're doing. But I love what I was seeing from that. And even early on in the game, KPJ was able to make some good reads out of some of those pick and rolls that they were running. And instead of just being focused on just trying to score or throwing to a lob, because he doesn't have a lob threat, now he's focusing on kicking it out to where the help is coming from. So this is a positive development for his growth, being the primary ball handler for our team. Another note I wrote on here, Jabari block, and that kind of speaks to his overall intensity since coming back from injury and the illness. And I think, some of those things may hamper his effort. For Jabari Smith, where I'm at with him, what he played like, yesterday against the Pelicans is what I expect him to play like pretty much his whole season. That's what I always wanted to see him play like, because I did not expect Jabari to be somebody that's going to be just dropping, a bunch of just 30-point games or even 20-point games. I expect him to be about 14 to 15 points per game off of just scrap, putbacks, things, because he doesn't have an offensive package yet, and our guards are not up to par to be able to deliver the ball to him on a perfect tray where he can, do whatever he wants with it. And the coaching staff is not creative enough to you really try to just put him as a primary point in the offense. And I don't think he's ready for some of that yet, to be honest. He's a little more raw than I thought he would be at this point. But he had 9 points. He could have scored some more. He had a couple putbacks that he missed, a couple bunnies that he missed, but 15 rebounds. I don't expect Jabari to have 15 rebounds every single game, but that's what the type of player I need him to be. Get your points like Tari does in transition, on putbacks. If you get a shot, you hit your shots when you can, but be scrappy on defense, play good defense, crash the glass, be a menace, and just be out there just causing chaos for the other team. And I could say that he had a pretty good game, even though he was a minus 21. That was more of a function of who he was on the court with a lot of the times than his actual play. So good job to Jabari. Another thing I wrote down, Sengun and Jalen are developing chemistry, man. I don't know why this is not more of a thing, and this is going to take me on a rant that I really don't want to go through right now, but I'll save that for later on in this video. But their chemistry is really building. They were running some pick and rolls early in the game, and Jalen really has a nice feel for bounce passes to Sengun on his rolls, and he turns the ball over a lot doing them. But it begs the question of why not let him experiment more as a ball handler in those pick and roll settings. I've seen quotes from Coach Silas saying that Jalen isn't ready for that, or that he wants Knicks and Eric Gordon to always be paired up with Jalen when he's on the court so they can ball handle for him. Can somebody tell Coach Silas we're in a rebuild and this is the time to experiment those things? Could somebody let him know that? Because if this isn't the year to do it, when are we going to do it? When we're trying to win? Right? That's when you're going to have your young two-guard experimenting as a ball handler. This kind of concerns me to hear things like this, because then we see him get in the game and where he has the opportunity to control the ball and he looks pretty good, right? So if we're going to do that, then I'm thinking that, hey, why don't we just give him more reps being a ball handler? If he can look competent against good defenses, give him more reps being a ball handler. That those comments about his lack of ball handling it just kind of tells me that, once again, the Rockets or our coaching staff, they're trying to win games and they're just really, really bad at it right now. They just really suck at winning. Another note that I put down is that Coach Willie Green went small fast, and as soon as he went small, by subbing out Valanciunas, our coaching staff reacted to that by going small. So Coach Silas took out Sengun. This was at the 6:54 mark, and we went small with them. Now, the purpose of you can go small for different reasons, right? If you want to go small in the team, you may have a certain matchup that you don't like. So maybe they didn't like the Valanciunas matchup on our guards or whatever it was. But when that sub was made, the game was tied up 11-11. The game was tied up 11-11, and it was a pretty competitive game at that point. And, with the fact that they were trying to go through the post for Sengun, Valanciunas was in foul trouble. And so they took out their big guy. So our big brain coaching staff is going to say, hey, let's react to somebody's counter to our strength, right? So instead of playing to your strengths, once again, this is, a pattern that I'm seeing. Let's react to some theoretical ideal thing. I'm going to go small for small, even though they're small that's played in a playoff atmosphere. These are veterans. So we go small, and then Alp doesn't come back into the game until about the 7:50 mark in the second quarter. So that's about 11 minutes of game time of arguably one of the best offensive players on your team. It could be top two. He might not be two, but just off of just generating offense. You take him out, and by the time he comes back, we are down 9 points into the game, right? So you've taken a player out. I can't imagine any other player being taken out for 11 minutes straight out of a game. And even Boban got some burn. And yeah, it was pretty weird. Once again, I'm starting to feel like he may just not like Alperen Sengun. I'm not a conspiracy theorist type of person. I don't think it's a personal thing. I don't think it's like like Alperen Sengun the person, but I think his play style, what it represents, in contrast to what Coach Silas's play style has always been, and what his kind of his bread and butter is a 5-out offense. The big man has never been prominent in 5-out. Not that I've seen from Coach Silas or anywhere in Dallas. The big men are always the ancillary. They're always the supplementary. They're always the guys that assist the primary ball handler in getting the offense in gear. So having this type of offense is where it's kind of the hub is the post, is something that I don't think that he wants to see for his team, especially on his resume as a coach that's made his bones off of 5-out, and he's trying to develop Jalen Green. Little beknownst to him is that may be one of the best things that you could do for your young guard in Jalen Green, because there seems to be a real chemistry with him and Alp going on out there. But just something to that really kind of ticked me off there. It's like, why does Alperen have to be perfect to be able to get the opportunities that some of the other young prospects do that mess up and do things like that? That is just something to watch for, and I think something that will become an issue in the future as it relates to this coaching staff going forward. So yeah, once again, you're trying to match New Orleans by taking out your best offensive player, and yeah, came back. There was a pretty 9-point lead. Another note I took: Usman Garuba guarding Zion Williamson. Uzi is the real deal, man. And I put on Twitter that I need people to give me those apology forms to sign because I was wrong, right? If y'all watch my old videos, I'm not high on Usman Garuba, but now I'm coming to see the light, bro. This dude got it, man. He can guard. I've seen him. Not that he's like clamping anybody. He hasn't clamped anybody, but he has the ability to guard those big athletic forwards that can shift directions, because he is a big body in himself and he's young. So I can see him being able to get bigger. But his feet are so jittery that he can move side to side. It's a gift and a curse, because when he jitters like that, a lot of times it gets him in trouble on offense because he moves too fast, but on defense, he's able to shift direction. So you can see how that helps him out, changing direction, being a good point of attack defender on some of these guys that like to drive downhill. So, kudos to him for, just getting the work in, and, the coaching staff for the Spanish team, and, getting him ready this year, and him getting in shape, his camp, whatever he does, and the Rockets for developing him a little bit. So, that's definitely good to see to have on a young team. Another note, Jalen's, his passing has been up and down, but it goes back to what I was saying with the ability for him to get chances to play the PG role. Like, I need to see it, bro. Like in this when you're in this NBA, it's really not a lot of dominant off-ball guards. In order to be a superstar or to reach the full potential for a player, they have to be on ball and be able to control the game at all times, at all levels. And this is a skill set that you see all these young guys getting. And I'll give you a great comp for this is Anthony Edwards. If you watch in the playoffs, they allow him to initiate the offense as a primary ball handler, because that's what the defense is going to dictate. You're wasting time when you have a non-star with the ball in their hands in some of those close playoff games, because the defense is going to front and make you waste seconds trying to get the pass off. And by the time you initiate whatever offense you're initiating, now you're just rushing against a loaded defense. So a lot of times it's good to have the guy that can really start everything from jump with the ball in the hands coming up on the court. And I feel like these are reps that he should be getting. It seems like him and KPJ, as far as ball handling, is about 70% KPJ, 30% Jalen when they're on the court together. I'm not even going to factor in Eric Gordon right now, because if it was really that, it would be about 50 KPJ, 30 Gordon, and 20 Jalen. But just for him and Kevin Porter, I'm going to just think about the future. I need it to be about 55-45, 55 KPJ, 45 Jalen. Right, I need him to be able to do that, and that 45 could come at any point of the game, and which is going to lead me to my next point. I've seen a pattern, I don't know if you guys noticed this, of when Jalen is having a good game, his teammates, most notably Kevin Porter and Eric Gordon, seem to not really want to let him close out games. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's anything bad. I don't think it's anything nefarious. Like, they're just like, nah, bro, you're not gonna shine. But they aren't intentional on letting him learn to like finish out games. And to me, that's where a good vet needs to come in if the coaches aren't gonna be intentional about that. Because that's what a good vet will do for an up-and-coming star in the league, a player that's going to be somebody. A good vet is going to be able to put aside their ego and say that, okay, my young guy's cooking. He's sitting on 30 points. We're going to get him going. Let's keep him going. Keep him hot. Let him prove to us that he can't close this out. Let him prove to us that he can't make these shots anymore. Let him go 0 for 6, 0 for 7 before we stop and start, because to me that shows that, okay, we have some hierarchy in this team. All this stuff where Eric Gordon is closing out games, Kevin Porter is having like these terrible turnovers late in games while Jalen Green just literally brought the team back. It's just kind of a visual, like a small picture, a microcosmic view of just everything that's wrong with what I think is wrong with the Rockets as far as, in the rebuild, the things I would complain about. There's a lot of good, but it's this lack of structure. Like there's no control over it. It's just chaos. There's no control over anything. It seems chaotic. Like you have a kid, we're down 18, he comes in, he's in his bag, he's getting his confidence up, and then ends the fourth quarter with only 3 shot attempts. So to me those are frustrating especially for us as fans to watch. That's pretty frustrating. And even just let's talk about the stretch that Jalen came back in. If you notice in that stretch, the court or the players on the court were all players that were not looking for their own shot. Obviously, you have this super trio of Tari, KJ, and Garuba, which, those guys are killing it right now. I think when they're on the court together, they're like a plus 40 something and I think it's like 71 plays or something. I'll have those stats for y'all when we do our podcast, but they are real. That's a real thing, right? they are killing teams. I think like 111 offensive rating and like a 90 something defensive rating. So that's a real thing. That trio, I forgot what Ryan Hollins called them. That's a real thing. But when they're on the court and Knicks has been on the court, and shout out to Knicks, man. I know we say he's not an NBA player, and Jay Gubb needs to learn this too. Bro, when you're on the court, just pass the ball to the guys that are better than you. You'll probably get more chances. That's the secret, right? We don't need you trying to be the guy, bro. And then once again, back to the whole structure thing. Know your place. That's why KJ is doing good. That's why Garuba does good. That's why Tari does good. Find your niche, be a champion in your role. And I think Knicks is starting to get that. Because when he was on the court with KJ, Tari, and Garuba, they were looking for Jalen. Everything they did was to get Jalen the ball. They got a rebound, let's get Jalen the ball. Hey, he's hot, let's get Jalen the ball. And you know what Jalen did with the ball? He put that thing in a hole, right? So when that was going on, you could see that team that was out there, that was playing those minutes with him, they were intentional about getting Jalen the ball. They screened to get him shots. They cut to get him looks. They were diving to collapse the defense to kick it out to him, treating him like a star, like somebody that is actually good, right? And then the starters start trickling back in, and it goes back to just nonsensical, non-logical, just random basketball. And without Sengun, and once Sengun came in and fouled out, which is like Silas's wet dream to get him out the game, because I could tell, okay, well, even when he got his 5th foul, they weren't going to take him out the game because he wasn't going to play past 6 minutes anyways. They were going to take him out for matchup purposes. So they took him out, and you already know what happens when Sengun's not in the game. Our offense goes to craps. So you have our starters come in and start playing hero ball. Kevin Porter gets literally just mentally destroyed by Alvarado. And, Jalen doesn't see the ball for another how many minutes. And the shots he gets a 3 that he missed. He gets a layup that he makes, and I think he gets an alley-oop or something from Jabari during that time. But, just once again, just something that's really, really just not what you want to see from our team, man. Like, you would like them to trust each other more. You would like there to be a little more structure, but that's just not there right now. That is just not there right now for them to play. The Alvarado and KPJ thing, that was, he does that to a lot of people, but hey, you got to keep your composure, bro. Heavy is the head that wears a crown. Like, if you're going to be the floor general, the leader on the team, keep your composure. You got to keep your composure. You got to be able to dudes like that in the league, and you can't get flustered just because somebody's clamping you up and you turning the ball over, everywhere in here, and you're not making your shots. You know how you shut that up? Go score a bucket. Go guard up. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to hold that against him because we've seen Alvarado do that to a lot of guards. Y'all seen what he did. He got Chris Paul almost thrown out the game if he didn't get him thrown out. So that's what he does. And, you know what I mean? And, you know, the best way to beat that is go clamp up, go score. You feel me? So, yeah, the game just overall, it was a good learning experience for the guys. I'm proud of their effort. I think last season they would have quit when they were down, but they have fight this year. They just don't know how to close because they don't have structure, because closing requires structure. Closing requires a game plan. Closing requires leadership. And these are some of the things they're lacking on the court. And I hope not off the court, but on the court, they don't have that trust in each other. There's not that leader that'll organize them in those games. There's some people that argue that he's on the bench, but they're not going to listen to that guy right now. So that's where we're at with this team. The talent is definitely there. You know, they just need more leadership and more structure. And this is going to be a theme going forward for this organization. And the schedule does not get easier, but you can see they're learning. And if they can learn to put it together and get it on a consistent basis, then they can do something with it. I'm still not sold on our offensive system. Honestly, somebody that watches basketball, watches a lot of basketball, breaks down film and looks at it. I just don't believe in that system as a system that's going to ever do something major in the playoffs or anything, because it relies too much on individuals, and it doesn't really rely on team, like the strengths of every single individual on the team. And I feel like with our roster, with all these high draft picks we have, we'd be better served by an offense that would be able to maximize the threat and the power of every single person at every given moment on the court, as we've seen with some of these other teams. And but you know, so that's just my take on it. I'm not sure what y'all thought about the game. I've seen some of the remarks on Twitter. People had mixed feelings about it. But you know, I thought it was a good game, good learning experience for them. Just reminded us some of our shortcomings, but it was also exciting to see some of the flashes of the good things that the team was doing. So as y'all know, I want y'all to let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments, what did you think about this game? Was it, you know, who's the reason we lost? Were we even supposed to be in the game? Is Jalen being hoed by his teammates? Did Alvarado get in Kevin Porter's head? Was it just a bad game? Is Coach Silas still in over his head? Is Eric Gordon doing too much? I think I know the answer to all of these, but y'all let me know in the comments. And of course, you already know, you always gotta support the Chop Shop. Hit the like button on this video, subscribe to our channel, keep supporting us. Go to the Chop Shop merch store, you know, go in and copy your shirt or a hoodie or anything like that and show love to the channel. Until then, man, we'll chop it up with y'all in the next go round.